The halls of Jefferson Elementary School in Columbus were always full of noise every morning. Children laughed beside colorful lockers while teachers greeted students with warm smiles, and the smell of pancakes drifted from the cafeteria. Among the crowd of excited kids rushing toward their classrooms, there was one quiet 8-year-old boy named Ethan Parker who nobody paid much attention to. Ethan wasn't the loudest kid. He wasn't the best athlete. And he rarely spoke unless someone asked him a question. But there was one thing everyone noticed. Every morning, Ethan walked into school carrying 2 lunchboxes. Not 1. 2. At first, nobody thought much about it. Some teachers assumed one contained snacks. Other students joked that Ethan simply ate a lot. The cafeteria ladies smiled whenever they saw him, and Ethan would always smile back politely before hurrying to class. But strangely, no one ever saw him eating both lunches. And nobody ever saw what happened to the second one. Weeks turned into months. Every day was the same. 2 lunchboxes arrived in the morning. Only one came home. His teacher, Mrs. Emily Carter, eventually grew curious. Ethan was one of her favorite students because despite being shy, he had the kindest heart she'd ever seen. He always helped younger children pick up spilled books and often shared crayons with classmates who forgot theirs. But one thing bothered her. During lunch period, Ethan only opened one lunchbox. The second remained closed. And when recess started, he quietly disappeared for a few minutes before returning alone. One chilly November afternoon, Mrs. Carter decided to follow him from a distance. She felt guilty doing it. But something inside her heart told her there was more to the story. As children raced toward the playground, Ethan held the second lunchbox carefully against his chest and slipped out through a side gate behind the school. Mrs. Carter followed slowly. And then she froze. Behind an old storage shed near the baseball field sat a little girl. She couldn't have been older than 6. Her clothes were dirty. Her sneakers were falling apart. And she was shivering beneath a thin pink jacket much too small for the cold weather. Without saying a word, Ethan sat beside her and opened the second lunchbox. Inside was a peanut butter sandwich, apple slices, juice, and a small note with a smiley face drawn in blue marker. The little girl smiled as though someone had handed her treasure. And then Ethan said something that made Mrs. Carter's eyes instantly fill with tears. "Eat slowly, Lily," he whispered. "Mom says if you eat too fast, your tummy hurts." Mrs. Carter covered her mouth. Who was Lily? And why was she hiding behind the school? Before she could step forward, Ethan wrapped his own jacket around the little girl and gently rubbed her hands to warm them. "You can have mine today," he said softly. "I'm not very cold." The boy himself was already shivering. That afternoon, Mrs. Carter quietly approached Ethan after class. "Ethan," she asked gently. "Who is Lily?" The little boy lowered his eyes. For several seconds he said nothing. Then tears slowly appeared. "She's my sister," he whispered. Mrs. Carter's heart sank. Ethan explained that 6 months earlier, their mother had died from cancer. After her death, the children had been separated while relatives fought over custody. Ethan ended up living with his grandmother, but there wasn't enough room for Lily, so she temporarily stayed with a distant aunt nearby. But the aunt struggled financially and often worked double shifts. Sometimes there wasn't enough food. And because Lily wasn't old enough for school yet, she spent most days alone at the aunt's apartment near the school while waiting for someone to come home. Every day during recess, she sneaked behind the baseball field to see her brother. And every day, Ethan brought her lunch. Mrs. Carter could barely hold back her tears. "But why didn't you tell anyone?" she asked. The little boy looked terrified. "Because I promised Mom I'd always take care of Lily." That night, Mrs. Carter cried all the way home. And the next morning, she called the principal. Within days, social workers helped arrange support for the family. Donations poured in from teachers and parents. Local restaurants provided groceries. Volunteers furnished a larger apartment. And after months apart, Ethan and Lily were finally able to live together again with their grandmother. But the moment nobody ever forgot happened during the school's Christmas assembly. As students performed songs on stage, Principal Robert Jenkins suddenly paused the program and invited Ethan forward. The confused little boy slowly walked onto the stage. Then he froze. Standing beside the principal was little Lily, holding a tiny lunchbox. The audience smiled through tears. Lily ran into her brother's arms and hugged him tightly. And then she whispered words that nobody in the auditorium would ever forget. "You don't have to bring 2 lunches anymore." By then teachers were crying. Parents were crying. Even the janitor wiped tears from his eyes. Because they had all just witnessed something beautiful. Not wealth. Not success. Not fame. But love. The kind of love that only exists inside the heart of a little boy who made a promise to his mother. And kept it. Because sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms. Sometimes they wear backpacks. And carry 2 lunch boxes. Red Heart.